Sir, we are live. Can we start, sir?
Yeah.
Very good evening to one and all who have joined here today. Today, we are having an awareness session on occasion of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And for that, we are very happy to have our most distinguished speaker, Dr. Vivekanandhan, sir, District Psychiatrist, Salem, and the National Faculty of Psychiatry for Medicine. We welcome you, sir, with all our heart. And I give the mic to Dr. Raghunandan Ramanathan to give an intro. Yes, sir.
A very good evening to all my dear friends and juniors, as well as all the colleagues who have joined here. I welcome wholeheartedly from the team of Medusane, our esteemed faculty for today, Dr. Vivekanandhan sir. So Dr. Vivekanandhan sir is associated with us from the 2020, from the time of COVID, where he took a wonderful session. After that great lockdown, the students were very stressed, and he was the one who came forward to discuss with all the students on how to break this mental lockdown and come back. So that was the beginning of our association with sir, and today we are very happy to have him back with us on this day, one of the very important day, I will tell, because as the usage of drugs and as the usage of illicit drugs are being increasingly seeing among the community, and unfortunately even among the medical community, we have an increased usage of it, and the raise of awareness among them is important, and that is the reason we arranged today's session. And we have a wonderful faculty with us who is who is one among the students, and I can tell who understands the students difficulties. And most of the time, even myself, when I have a difficulty, I usually bombard with question to him, and he never felt tired in answering my questions, and I'm very honored to have him back with us today. So I think this day will be like a milestone for us, because we are going to take a pledge at the end of the session, and this pledge is going to be I think every one of us should take, and we should be very much we should actually emphasize that, and we should teach our friends and our surroundings, because not everyone are aware of the medical problem which is going to be coming because of usage of drug. So learn from here, try to reciprocate to your community, and at the end of the day, let's try to make a drug-free society. Thank you so much, Parthiban, for calling me to give an introduction note, and I think now you can take over, Parthiban.
Just before the session, I'll just make every one of the viewers aware of today's topic. Actually, this is the need of the hour for celebrating the International Day Against Drug Trafficking, because the usage of drugs has gone into the roots of our society so deeply that to the point where it has been extremely normalized and encouraged, especially among the youth. And the substance abuse, which has been once practiced under the shades with a lot of fear, has now come out openly as an essential for every weekends and every birthday parties. The recent tragic incident which had taken place in our own state in Kallakurichi is actually an alarm bell to not only the officials but also to us common public. So as medical students, I think we have an extra responsibility in educating the common public about the evil effects of drug usage. So we have a sir with us. He'll be taking the session today. Hope you all find it useful. And at the end of the session, I request every one of you to repeat the pledge after me. Thank you. And the session is all yours, sir. You can start.
Thank you. So good evening, friends. Basically, I'm Dr. K. Vivekanandhan. So I'm a psychiatrist. So this day being the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking. So we usually do this to de-addiction centers, or we do it to college or workplaces. But after the many lot of incidents that has happened, and there is a too many cases which has happened, which we all know, where younger generation is getting involved, and where the school students and college students are getting involved with the drug abuse. I thought that this year the theme is very much apt, where they have told that invest in prevention. So basically, Like as you all know, once a person has developed into addiction or person has started to have addiction, the treatment for that person is going to take a long go, and it will have a lot of implications, a lot of emotional stress with the patient, physical stress with the patient, family members, and like financial stress. But something which is very much feasible and very much important, which is very much practical, that we always advise is prevention. And I think that prevention should start from we previously, when I started to practice in psychiatry, like in 2013, my professors used to say that you should start counseling students in college so that when they grow up as adults, when they go to job, they will not take substances. As years gone by 2024, the new resolution by the government, Tamil Nadu government, which they say is start counseling from 6th standard of school students, so that once they go into higher metric or when they go to 10th standard or 12th standard, they should not be exposed to substances. That's how the weightage of the substance problem has become. And I think we doctors, okay, we doctors have we have something called as mass depression. Mass depression is something like where we feel that we don't have a problem, okay, like we feel that it doesn't affect me or it is not for me. I'm a doctor, I have everything under control. I'm here person to here to have a to cure others. Okay, we have this omnipotency where we feel that we are superior. Okay, that's how people treat us, and that's how illusion that we create in our mind. But where we feel that the problem that if we do, it's not a very big problem, but whereas if it is done by others, it is a very big problem. So I think this session, okay, from morning we have been having like 4 to 5 sessions, which was happening once in collector office and another was in a radio station, and then there was a college program, then there was a school program. So when Medusane people asked me like, can we have a session with younger generation doctors, I thought like it's a need of the hour. And I told that yes, definitely we can have it at 7 o'clock tonight, and I'm very happy to meet you all. Basically, like I basically feel that like if you have any thoughts, like what makes a person to go into substance addiction? What is your thoughts? Why does a person become addicted to a substance? Let's have it more of an interaction rather than just a one-sided story. So if you can tell me what makes a person addicted to substance. Yes, you can type in chat box. Stress in workplace. Wonderful, wonderful, Dr. Raghunandan. Anything else? Stress in workplace. Yes, that's where people always say that they are very much stressed. That's why I take alcohol or I take a substance. Yes. Friends party. True, true, true. Anything else? Why does a person gets this is like now escaping from problems. Wonderful, wonderful, Vigneshwaran. That's a brilliant answer. Because we have too many stresses in life, okay, that our life has become more stressful. And you're all young generation doctors, I'm giving you open disclaimer that life is going to be more difficult. Okay, that's how life was and life is going to be, because there is too much of competitiveness, too much of comparisons, too much of negativity, too much of things where people like to pull you down. So there is going to be too many problems, and that actually makes life a bit difficult. So as Dr. Raghunandan and Dr. Vigneshwaran has told, depression, stress in workplace, friends party, and escaping from problems, all this will be a starting point for an substance abuse. Do you have any idea, like, do doctors or do young generation doctors, do medical fraternity have increased substance use, moderate substance use, or less substance use? What is your thoughts? Moderate. Okay. Any others? Want to just give a try? Moderate. See, basically what happens is that I have seen doctors who abuse or who take, starting from alcohol to substances of to benzodiazepines and opioids, so tramadol, to hardcore drugs. But the thing is that I can find that this has been, I can say that the alcohol and cigarettes are all seen in mid-age people or older age people, whereas younger generation doctors, I'm sad to say, but are exposed to many hardcore drugs, and which makes them to, it might be because of they are all like there is something called as Gen Z and things, and you need to explore life, novelty, need new things to have a kick, and which makes them to explore a lot of things. They are exposed to a lot of things, which makes them to get into these drugs, and these drugs which will cause what is called as emotional hijacking. Okay, have you heard of this word called as emotional hijacking? I think that you're all like MBBS students, so basically, have you heard of this word called as emotional hijacking? Anybody have you heard of this word called as emotional hijacking? Emotional hijacking is nothing but where I always used to say this as an example. See, when you start working from morning till evening and you have not eaten much and you're really hungry, when somebody gives you a biryani, okay, you feel very happy, you feel very nice, okay, you feel very you get pleasure, okay. This pleasure is because the release of two dopamines, okay, after not having a good food for the whole one full day. When you have a very tasty meal, naturally what happens, pleasure will be produced because of dopamine which will be released, which will be like roughly 2 or 3 dopamines. When you have too many schedules that is planned, too many assignments, too many projects to do, and you're not able to sleep well for 1 day or 2 days continuously, and third day when you go and like lie on a bed early, naturally you have a wonderful blissful sleep, okay. That sleep gives you a lot of pleasure, okay. That is because there is 3 dopamines that is released. Imagine that you hard work, you work hard, you get a lot of good or good ranks, or you get distinction, or you get a PGC that you like, your life is settled. You feel that your life is like great, and there that pleasure is because 5 dopamines are released. But when you use a substance, there is at a time there is like 20 to 25 dopamine that's released, which makes people to have an emotional hijacking. That is, rather than working hard, rather than going to a job, rather than getting a good name in the family, with the friends, with the society, one thing which will give more pleasure than all this is nothing but substances. Now, this substance, the amount of dopamine that is released and the amount of addiction potential varies from one substance to other substance. As I am a person as a psychiatrist and I teach psychiatry for students, I know that there is something called as physiological dependence, there is something called a psychological dependence, and like certain substances, like when continuously used, you will have dependence. For example, benzodiazepines and alcohol. Certain substances, even if you use once, you will get dependence. It's like cocaine or amphetamines, okay, because it'll have this craving and psychological addiction. Now, this will make the person to have this emotional hijacking, which will make them to long for the substance more. I've always said to students and also to the general public that whenever the substance is controlling you, okay, then it means that you're addicted. The very important thing is that when a person, how do you frame a person? I'll just give you 2 clinical scenarios. One person is called Ramu. This person has been taking a substance for nearly 20 years. Every weekend he takes substance. Every weekend he takes substance for past 20 years. In the weekdays, he goes to work. He's very respectable in the first society. He's loving with the family. He's caring to the family. He's contributing to the society. But every weekend for the past 20 years, he's taking substance. There is another person called as Somu. This Somu is taking substance only for 1 year. But for this 1 year, his only job is to somehow procure money and get the substance. Okay. If he's not having money, he will borrow. If he's not able to borrow, he will steal. But only thing is that his only work is to get the substance. But this Somu has this problem only for 1 year. Now, according to these 2 case scenarios of Ramu and Somu, whom will you say that they have addiction? Do both have addiction, or only Ramu has addiction, or only Somu has addiction? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? I'm sorry, I usually have this teaching trend and I cannot interact. I cannot have a flow without interaction with students. Yes. Whom do you think will have addiction? The person who took occasionally. Okay. Okay. Great. Fine. Any other answers? Any other answer, friends? Any other thoughts?
Both.
Yes. See, basically what we call a person as, when we call a person as addicted, is when the person is, we have something called as narrowing of repertoire. Narrowing of repertoire is nothing but is happiness, is pleasure, is all revolves around the substance. We call it as salience, where he doesn't have a kick or pleasure or happiness from any other pleasurable activities. For example, I get happiness when I read some wonderful books, or when I play with my son, or when I do some programs, or when I go to jail and visit patients there. I have a lot of choices or options to have a pleasure or a kick of dopamine. But when my all my pleasure are located or fixated to at one thing, okay, then it is called addiction. Now, this need not be a substance alone. Okay, it can be social media, it can be a person, it can be a uh, impulse like in gambling, anything which is the only root of pleasure. And when it controls you, naturally, what happens is that it is the one which causes addiction. And that's why I always say, like, when things starts controlling you, then you lose your independence, then you will get into addiction, and naturally the substance starts controlling you, which leads to a lot of physical, psychological, and emotional problems. I basically feel that like addiction is something to do with the mind, and it is the field of a psychiatrist rather than a physician. Because we usually say that smoking causes cancer, alcohol causes liver disease, cannabis causes brain disease, cocaine causes heart problems. We try to medicalize the problems, but only the thing that I have seen with so many patients who have this addiction problem is that it's a mind game. How resilient you are, how confident you are, how connected you are, your coping skills, your emotional balance, how you are able to tackle problems, and how your financial problem is there, how are you able to connect with your own friends and family members, how you identify yourself. These are the things which determine a person whether he is going to addiction or is going to be just an occasional user or a person who is just an explorer. This is all my kind of my small experience thoughts. And I think that this meeting of prevention, investing in prevention with doctors like you, I think it's really important thing, and this meeting is definitely a need of the hour, as mentioned by our friend Parthiban and Raghunandan. And I think that, see, we doctors, okay, usually, yes, the clients see us as God. Clients feel that, yeah, when my professor was as a PG student, I think they felt that they saw them as a God. Now, even now, when we work in government centers, setups, and when we see patients, we feel that like people like feel that like we you feel, you get a sense of gratitude every day. You feel that, my God, I'm gifted to help these people. But we too are at risk, because we have a stressful journey, we have things of comparison, we have things of like negativity around us. So naturally any person can slip into substance addiction, so nobody is immune to it. So I think it's a right time that we discuss about this. I would be very happy that I can continue further if there is Q&A rather than just a monologue. Any questions, my dear friends? I don't want to torture you with too much of.
Sir, how do you think we can just go forward? So, like today, as you have said already, like we can see a surge in the usage of illicit drugs rather than we can call it a simple alcohol or as smoking. So what do you think, how can the medical students prevent themselves, because prevention is something very difficult at this today's situation. So what is your advice to the students, those who are like like especially the first year and second years when they are entering now? So this is the time when they are going to be exposed. So, what is your advice to prevent? And second question, which I want to ask you is definitely, as you told, there will be a parties, and there is sometimes people are being provoked by their seniors or by their friends themselves. Atleast ஒரு வாட்டி ட்ரை பண்ணுங்களேன் என்ன ஆக போகுது அந்த மாதிரி அவங்க கேட்கும்போது ஸோ எப்படி வந்து how to make sure that they don't go into it.
That's a brilliant question. Thank you for the question, Dr. Abnandan. See, basically, for the first question, I would say that like you have like what is it, naturally there is a lot of substance that's happening around you, and people are going for a party, and there are seniors who have been there with the college, where I was in a government college where I could see that there was a senior who was 5 years or in the same year writing the exam, and the department asked them to just come for the exam, and they'll try to push him. But the thing is that, yeah, he was a person who was chronically addicted. The thing is that I would say that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. When your day is occupied, when your day is scheduled, when your day is planned, and when you have anything to, we always call it as a flow. Okay, flow is something where when you flow, like when you go to movies. Okay, when you go to movies, there is some wonderful movie, there is an interesting movie, there's a brilliant cinematography that has happened, and you start watching the movie. The movie starts at 6 o'clock. Suddenly, you feel that there's an interval. Okay, you do not know that the time has run. Yes. So there are certain movies where you you sit and every 5 minutes you check your watch, but you feel that the time has not even run, and like it's a really boring movie. So what we say is, whenever you feel that the time like runs like anything, it means that is flow. Any activity where you have flow is where you have a passion for, and you need to search for things that you have a passion and you're inclined to, which will make you feel empowered, which makes you feel good about yourself, which helps you to create your own identity. And very importantly, when you have things, okay, for example, when I have my son to play with, when I have my wife to go for to take her for a mall or shopping, when I have a program like for you young generation doctors, when I have a question paper to prepare for my students for the next week class, when my day is structured and I'm able to take equal amount of breaks in between, and I'm able to de-stress it, and every work which I do, I'm able to feel that I'm accomplishing something or I'm trying something new, and that's something which I wanted to do, and I'm doing it like it's such a, what we call it as in CMC Vellore, they always say it's a calling. So when you do such things, I can confidently say that any substance can never touch you, because you can feel that when your day is structured, when you do a day, there's a lot of flow there, and we have to do a lot of mastery. When you do a lot of activities which helps you to de-stress there itself, naturally the need for a substance to give you happiness is not there, because these things will make your day, and these things will give you a lot of pleasure, and this will motivate you to go further. And second part of the question that you asked me, I think it's a very important thing. What happens is that, see, we have a monkey brain. Okay, we always want to like, let me try. What's wrong in like what is it trying, or what is going to happen? Like where everybody uses substance, what is wrong in there? When you yield to impulses, naturally people will start playing with your mind. As I told you, like addiction is nothing but a mind game. And very importantly, when you are assertive, when you are confident, when you say a no, it means no. Okay, nobody is going to force you to like nobody is going to like open your mouth and you put a substance into your mouth, or it's like, or going to give you an shot of injection. Only thing is that when you feel like, because the one thing that I always do with my clients is assertiveness management. When you're confident and when you act confident, when you say confident, people will feel that what he means is right. But when you feel that, let me try, what is wrong there, when you're not sure in what you're saying, naturally people will start playing with your mind. And very importantly, there is a lot of, I should definitely say, there's a lot of psychological substances, especially cocaine, cannabis, amphetamine, LSD. These substances need not have years and years of usage. Just one shot is enough, which will release n number of dopamine chemicals, which will totally control you from the first day. So I think you being more confident, more assertive, have a group of friends who are sober or who are not into these drugs or not into substances, having a group of friends who are active in sports, active in politics, or active in academics, or active in social activities, active in NSS, anything which is productive, which is positive, which has a career. I basically feel that like what to say, you need not go to college to study, or you need not go to school to study. Okay, because now everything is available in the internet, everything is available in the YouTube, and the amount of psychiatry that I teach to my Bhatia students and my MedPG students, this is enormous. The only thing you know is you have to see patients, you have to practice some medicine, practice your medical course, and very importantly, you need to have something for your life in the college, because that's a wonderful time, and have it as a positive memories rather than anything which is traumatizing. Thank you, Raghunandan, for the wonderful question. Any other questions, friends?
Thank you, sir. And one more question from my side. As we all aware, as you told, we have to find a good positive environment for us, and we need to make sure that the like-minded peoples are being together, and they are going to be prevent. This will be acting as a prevention from following into a drug addiction. So, sir, now there may be few people who have already been into a drugs, and they will be trying to come out of it. So what is your advice for them?
So basically, once you have started the substance, okay, naturally what happens is that now there is nothing called as prevention. Okay, we have to, early intervention is what, as we always say in SPM, right? Once it has started, then we have to go for secondary or tertiary prevention. So basically what happens is, what you have to do is, you need to just work on what is the amount of addiction the person has. Is it physically has started affecting them? Or are they able to be called as a lapse and relapse? Lapse is something like, we all want to look lean, we all want to look like, what is it, thin. But what happens is that we all do dieting, we all do exercise, walking, gym and everything. But suddenly what happens is that we start, there's a like, you're really bored of your dieting and all that. Once you start, you go to a party or a treat, and you start having a biryani. Okay, now we call it as a cheat day. Okay, everybody knows this, everybody would have experienced this. Now when a person is having a cheat day, it's fine. Okay, but that cheat day, if it is consecutive, then it means that the person is going into relapse. We have two words which we use in psychiatry. One is called as relapse, and another is called as relapse. Lapse is something like a cheat day. Okay, like a person who has not taken substance because of counseling, or because of family support, or because of friend support, whatever it is, the person has built his confidence, built his identity, and he has stopped substance. There will be a lapse. Okay, there will be a cheat day. Now when a person is in lapse or in a cheat day, a person, as a friend or as a family member, or as a colleague, you have the responsibility, you should take the responsibility to make sure that that cheat day doesn't consecutively happen for days together, so that it should not go into what is called as relapse. Relapse is where the person again goes to back to square one, and is more into addiction, where again they have to start to invest their time and money and their emotions to start for the treatment. Now when a person is already addicted, I think it's like, it's always better to get a medical aid. Okay, we are all doctors, so please, even in 2024, the general public do have a stigma to side with the psychiatrist, but at least we doctors should at least have a control of that stigma. I think going and talking to a psychiatrist, I think we all have a, like, what is a stigma that when I go to a psychiatrist, they give me medicines, or they pump me with medicines which make me sleep. And I basically, like, as I've trained in psychiatry, I see that I get a lot of clients who come for counseling, and very importantly, I give them the options. Like, if there is something which is called counseling, which will take some time to show some the improvement, and when you start medicines, there will be a faster improvement, but provided you should be okay with taking medicines. And I see there are a group of patients who say that, okay sir, let you give me both counseling and medications. There are people who say that, no sir, I need a quick fix, give me only medications. And there are a handful of patients who say that, sir, give me only counseling, let me try that. So I think that, like, once you start approaching, and like, when we fix what is happening, what is the need for you, and when we sit and work out, things are all under control. Because I feel that rather than medicalizing the problem, psychologically having a perspective to it, why is this substance dominating your mind, why is this substance dominating your life, and having a fresh perspective. It's always, even though I am a psychiatrist, when I talk about my thoughts to other person, that person who is not emotionally involved with me will give me a total different perspective. Okay, that's what makes psychiatry or counseling helpful for people, because we have a non-judgmental attitude, we have a third person perspective, we are not emotionally attached to you, which will able to give us a lot of a logical picture rather than emotional picture. So approaching a doctor and getting the help from the family and the friends is the first thing you should do, rather than feeling that you have a very big problem, or you should not stigmatize yourself that, should I see a psychiatrist, what are they going to say, so are they going to pump me with medicines? Thank you, dear.
Thank you, sir. Last and final question from my side. as you all aware that everyone will be aware that the exams are being postponed, and that itself is like creating a lot of stress for the people. So this, though it is just deviating from the substance abuse, I just want to conclude the session with this question to you. So now, as you all know, the exams or the even the system is being changed once for all many times. So they don't know how to proceed or how to follow. That itself is creating a peer pressure for every student. So what is your opinion, or what is your advice to those students, sir?
See, basically from Sunday, I have been getting calls from students like from all over the country and all over the state who are really stressed out. There was a guy who texted me like there was a paragraph like message. I was really moved. So basically, what happens? He has literally traveled for nearly 3 hours to the place, booked a hotel, and suddenly he sees that the exam is cancelled. And like people who are really like second attempt, third attempt, they are really stressed, and they think that okay, let me give this time. And people are like giving you some like what to say myths and things like they are in the social media you hear that it's going to be a difficult question, or it's going to be a new set of pattern that's going to come, or it's going to be more difficult this time. So all these things which comes, which naturally which will stress us. But I always believe on one thing which the Serenity player, which CMC has taught me. See, there are certain things which you can change. Okay, there are certain things which you can definitely change. I think you should have the confidence, you should have courage to work on the things which you should and which you can change. There are certain things which you cannot change. Okay, there are certain things which is not under your control. Okay, those things I think you need to accept. And one thing is that you should have one thing called as wisdom to find the difference. What are the things which I can change? What are the things which I cannot change? Starting from you as a student, starting from your junior who is seeing you as a senior who's preparing for exam, to a person who is like a faculty who is teaching to students, to the owner of a coaching institute, to the NAT board. So everything which goes from the the last person to the first person are clueless. Only thing is that we have got update that we will have an exam date which will be released in the coming week. So I think that the exams, the type of question paper, the difficulty of the question paper is all the things which you cannot control. Only thing that you can control is your preparation, your mindset, your confidence, your mental health is what we can control. I personally believe I'm not a big fan of cricket, or I do not know cricket, but the one person that I'm in madly love with is MS Dhoni. And I think that he has given me the wonderful life lesson that is control the controllables. Whatever that I can control, I'll 100% control. Whatever I cannot control, I'm not going to spend my time thinking about it. So I think that preparation, processing, how to work on my mindset, my mental health, my emotions, I can definitely control. The examiner, the board of examiners, their politics, those things, yes, I can put it in a social media, I can voice it to my friends, but is it going to make an impact, immediate impact? No. But if I am able to make a preparation, I think it will have an impact. So controlling the controllables is my lifetime learning from MS Dhoni, and I hope that it should be the learning for all of us students, so that it will help us to not to get stressed about things which is totally not under our control. Thank you, boss.
Thank you, sir. And I request Parthiban to take over the session and proceed. So there is one question. How effectively to convince the patient not to go for drug, especially those who are already in it, given the short interaction time with patient, how to effectively use the time?
That's a wonderful question, Dr. Harish. See, basically what happens is that once you know that the patient is on substance, either the patient has opened or the family members has opened, I would say that have a rapport with the patient, understand about the patient, what is happening with the patient. Time is now 7:40. Just an hour before, I saw a patient in my clinic, and the patient had a suicidal attempt, and the patient is like is reluctant to talk with me. He was not at all interested. They have their own interests to talk with the psychiatrist. And what happens is that like you start talking with your mother, with this mother, and like I started talking with him. I just started to have this like details about his education, his job, whether he likes the job or not, what was his dream job when he was in school. Now once you start flowing into things which is not about the substance, which is not, he feels that, okay, if I talk about this person is going to judge me. If I'm going to talk about this person is going to give me medicines. If I'm going to talk about this person is going to give me a brand name that I'm an addicted. Now, rather than talking about that, you just understand about the person. Okay, we always say that you don't treat the patients. Okay, don't treat them as patients, treat them as humans. So basically, you see them as a human, understand what is their own life is running on, what is happening in their school, what is happening in their college, what is happening in their family life, what is happening between what is this role as a father or as a parent or as a colleague. And once you understand those things, when a person feels that you're interested in that person, naturally, I think talking about the person, about the substance, or building the confidence of the person is like a child's play. That's what I have felt, because I felt that my senior professors, they start building the confidence or rapport with the patient within 2 minutes. I'll be hell-bent to understand how they do it, because for 2 weeks I sit and talk with the patient, they do not open up. But with my professor, they just open up with just 2 minutes. And then I understood that the secret of getting the history or connecting with the patient is being genuinely interested in the client. When you are genuinely interested in the patient, when you genuinely want to understand what is happening in the patient, when you want to understand the person as a human being, things will flow by itself. And you will feel it by experience, dear. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful question.
Hello, Satu.
Pratibhan, you can just proceed.
Yes. Now we'll have the pledge taking session. For this, I request every one of you to switch on your camera. Everyone, please switch on your camera. Okay, first we'll have an English pledge taking and followed by Tamil. Okay, please everyone unmute yourself and repeat after me. Okay, can we start? Please unmute yourself. Now repeat after me. We realize that drug abuse is increasing in our country.
Drug abuse is increasing in our country,
especially among youth.
especially among youth.
And this is a matter of concern.
This is a matter of concern.
We pledge that we'll cooperate in stopping the drug abuse.
We will cooperate in stopping the drug abuse.
We promise that
we
will not consume any harmful or illegal drugs in any way for any purpose.
Harmful or illegal drugs in
any way for any purpose.
We will create awareness.
We will create awareness
about the ill effects of drug abuse. By encouraging every person. Especially the youth. So that the youth of India can live. Drug-free. And they can become creative and important members of the society.
They can become creative and important members of the society.
Today, we pledge that
we
will stay away from drugs. And live a healthy life. Okay, now we'll switch to Tamil. I hope everyone can follow Tamil. So repeat after me. போதை பழக்கத்தால் ஏற்படும் தீய விளைவுகளை நான் முழுமையாக அறிவேன். நான் போதை பழக்கத்திற்கு ஆளாக மாட்டேன்.
நான்
போதை பழக்கத்திற்கு ஆளாக மாட்டேன்.
மேலும் எனது குடும்பத்தினரையும்
மேலும் எனது குடும்பத்தினரையும்
நண்பர்களையும்
நண்பர்களையும்
போதை பழக்கத்திற்கு ஆளாகாமல் தடுத்து
போதை பழக்கத்திற்கு ஆளாகாமல் தடுத்து
அவர்களுக்கு அறிவுரைகளை வழங்குவேன்.
அவர்களுக்கு அறிவுரைகளை வழங்குவேன்.
போதை பழக்கத்திற்குள்ளானவர்களை
பழக்கத்திற்குள்ளானவர்களை
மீட்டெடுத்து
எடுத்து
அவர்களை நல்வழிப்படுத்த
நல்வழிப்படுத்த
எனது பங்களிப்பை முழுமையாக தருவேன்.
தருவேன்.
போதைப் பொருட்களின் உற்பத்தி,
போதைப் பொருட்களின் உற்பத்தி,
நுகர்வு, பயன்பாடு ஆகியவற்றிற்கு
நுகர்வு, பயன்பாடு ஆகியவற்றிற்கு
எதிரான தடுப்பு நடவடிக்கைகள் மூலம் போதைப் பொருட்களை தமிழ்நாட்டில் வேரறுக்க அரசுக்கு துணை நிற்பேன். மாநிலத்தின் வளர்ச்சிக்கும் மக்களின் நல்வாழ்விற்கும் நான் அர்ப்பணிப்புடன் பங்காற்றுவேன் என்று உளமாற உறுதி கூறுகிறேன். Thank you guys. Thank you. This is a very special session for medicine. It is one of a kind of session we have posted here, and we are hoping to have many more similar awareness session. And thank you, Vivekanandhan sir. For joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ragona, for giving this opportunity. And I thank each and every one of you, all the participants who have stepped forward for this initiative. And we'll be sending this to the Narcotics Bureau as said by Ragona. Thank you all.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining with us today. It was really a wonderful session, eye-opening session for all the students. And I think in future we will have a more like similar session with a more number of students actively joining after seeing this session today. And let's hope to continue to have a drug-free society in our country.
All the best, friends. Thank you. Thanks a lot.